Hello, welcome to BBC News. I'm Karen Giannoni here in the newsroom. Welcome to this special coverage that we're bringing you of the BAFTA nominations. This is the 79th BAFTA Film Awards upcoming in February. And in the next 15 minutes, we're going to be live to BAFTA HQ in central London, where the announcement is going to be made. And we're going to be breaking down over the course of this coverage some of the key names that have already made it onto the BAFTA long list. And we'll look at what could be dominating the nominations, who might be missing out as well. But with me to go through all of this in the studio, our culture reporter Lola Schroer. Down at BAFTA HQ, we have Lizo Mzimba, and I'm very pleased to say, on this side of the Atlantic, across the newsroom, Talking Movies presenter Tom Brooke. Hello to you all. Now let's talk through with Lola just some of what we might be hearing about, some of the films. Lola, just tell us what are making such a big name this year.
Well, BAFTA is the final major organisation to reveal its nominees, and many of the films that we're expecting to see on the list are going to be similar to the Oscars nominations that we saw last week. Let's start first with One Battle After Another, the Paul Thomas Anderson film. We're expecting to see that lead the field. Also Sinners, the Ryan Coogler film, and also Hamnet, directed by Chloe Zhao. So those are what we're expecting to lead the field.
Sinners, I mean, we heard so much about this after the Oscars. The biggest number of nominations in Oscars history.
Yes, 16 nominations, and also a lot of first-time nominees for this film in the Oscars. Let me tell the audience a bit about it. So it's a blend of a vampire horror, and it's got blues music as well. It sees twin brothers set out to open a new live entertainment venue in the 1930s Mississippi before their plans are derailed by an evil vampire-ish force. So it's really entertaining. The film does kind of change midway, but as we said, it did so well at the Oscars, and we are expecting to see it also do really well.
Let's just listen in to a little bit of this clip. Here we are.
Just this, Miss Annie, and a pinch of High John.
All right. Now, don't sell none of this on the way home. I don't want your mama coming at me crazy later.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I can't believe you taking this make-believe shit.
Smoke, give me my money for I cut your black ass.
You gonna put that blade up, woman? I'll trade you.
I don't want your money.
Don't be stupid, man.
I ain't stupid. Your money come with blood.
All money come with blood, baby.
Not like yours.
This shit won't even spend nowhere else. Look
I
at
ain't
it.
going nowhere else. I don't need that cursed money you got.
You know, woman, I've been all over this world. Cars, ships, trains. I've seen men die ways I didn't even know was possible.
Sinners there, which really is one of the favourites this year from all these awards. Apologies for some of the language in that clip that we just played. Lola, just take us through some of the other big names.
So we've also got One Battle After Another, which stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, and also Tiana Taylor. Now, Tiana Taylor got her first Oscar nomination for her role in One Battle After Another, so maybe we'll see her get her first BAFTA nomination as well today. But that film has absolutely taken the world by storm as well. It's another Warner Brothers film, so is Sinners. So One Battle After Another, it follows a revolutionary, or some say activist, who reunites with his old crew to get back his daughter. So it is kind of, it's got amazing car chase scenes throughout it. It's very energetic, and you see really comedic performances from the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro. So it is a fantastic film.
So it's a kind of action-filled comedy, black comedy. It's been it's quite a mixture of different genres.
It is a mixture of different genres, but it's nice to see actors like Leonardo DiCaprio kind of go back into that comedic stuff that they did, obviously Wolf of Wall Street, and maybe we will see him get another BAFTA nomination. Obviously, he's got a few in the past for his different performances, so maybe we'll see him get one for this comedic performance.
And some really big names in that film as well. Let's talk about Hamnet for the British contenders. I mean, Hamnet, we've heard so much about it. So many people are saying they're coming out of the cinemas absolutely weeping. It's so moving.
People have been saying, make sure you pack your tissues for the film. I certainly did when I saw it. So it's based on Maggie O'Farrell's novel. It explores the idea that a family tragedy led William Shakespeare to write his play Hamlet. It's got Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. Now, Paul Mescal did miss out on an Oscar nom, but Jessie Buckley has obviously won the Golden Globe for her role in playing Shakespeare's wife, and she also has been nominated at the Oscars. So she is very much tipped to get a nomination at the BAFTAs today.
Let's bring in Lizo Mzimba, who's down at BAFTA headquarters. Lizo, just talk us through how this works. We're expecting the announcement in just under 10 minutes' time.
Yes, upstairs in the BAFTA Theatre, Amy Lou Wood and David Johnson, a previous Rising Star winner, will read out the nominations in all the different categories. That'll take about 13 or 14 minutes, and then we will know how the stage is actually going to be set for this year's BAFTA Awards, taking place on the 22nd of February. And I think Lola's right, those are the films that most people are expecting to be looking out for, as far as we've seen from the long list, which came out a few weeks ago. A few surprises on that long list. We didn't see the director Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein on that list, so obviously he won't be on the nominations list today. But apart from that, it was pretty much as people expected. There are bound to be one or two surprises when we get the full nominations list in a few minutes' time, so a lot of expectation here.
Now, we've got the BAFTAs coming after the Oscar nominations, Lizo. How much crossover is there generally between these two awards?
Well, there is some crossover in terms of voters. There's probably maybe 1,500 voters who are both members of Oscar and the Academy and the BAFTAs, so you're likely to see some confluence of thought, for want of a better phrase there. Crossover in terms of the films. BAFTA revamped its rules a few years ago, and at that point we did see them diverging a bit more, but since then they've tended to go pretty much along the same lines with a few slight differences. So I think people have been expecting, especially as we've seen from the BAFTA long list, that those films like Hamlet, like One Battle After Another, like Sinners, are going to be at the top or close to the top of that list. Where it gets interesting is for best film on the night itself. Now, it's quite unusual in the last few years for BAFTA and the Academy to actually agree on best film, and we don't see the voting numbers and how it works, so it's impossible to know why. Is it slightly different tastes? But one of the theories is because they have completely different voting systems. For BAFTA, it's a simple first past the post. You've got, the 5 films up for best film. Whichever one gets the most, that's best film. Now, for the Oscars, of course, they have 10 films up for best film, and they have a preferential voting system. So the least popular film gets voted out round by round, and its second and third preferences go to other films. Now, what this tends to do is BAFTA is seen as rewarding passion. Lots of people liked this film, whereas with the Oscars, it kind of is more about consensus. If a film is quite divisive, it can be ahead on the first round potentially, but then fall behind because the people that really loved it voted for it, but a lot of people didn't love it, so it doesn't get those second, third, fourth preferences. So in recent years, we've seen things like Anora winning at the Oscars, something like Conclave winning here. You've got films like Roma winning here at the BAFTAs, while other films like Green Book win at the Oscars. So that's just a theory about why that difference is. But going into the ceremonies, there is a feeling that if you win Best Film at the BAFTAs, actually that might not be the best thing for your Oscar hopes.
Lizo, thank you very much. Lizo Mzimba there. And Lola, you are still with us, and just talking about the contribution from British film. This is, of course, the British Academy of Film and Television. How much weight does the British film industry have in all this?
I think that we expect to see British film highlighted a lot more at the BAFTAs than the Oscars, especially a film called I Swear and also The Ballad of Wallace Island this year. Now, I Swear, it's a film about a man with Tourette's, a Scottish man with Tourette's, and it's done really well in the long list. Its leading actor, Robert Aramayo, has actually been nominated for a BAFTA Rising Star. You may know him from the likes of Game of Thrones, which he was in. He's also on the long list for leading actor, and I Swear is also on the long list for some of the film nominations. So we should hope to see him or the film I Swear also appear in there.
Yeah, and how big an impact does what happens at BAFTA have on what goes on the award ceremonies in the United States?
On that, I think in general with the BAFTAs, as Lizzo said, normally the BAFTA nominations happen before the Oscar nominations. This year it's been a bit different. He said that the voting body does obviously overlap, but it's all up to it on the night. Obviously, we've seen sometimes in the acting categories that they give the awards to the same people, but not in the films. Obviously, Conclave won one year, and then it didn't win at the Oscars. So, you know, it really does just depend.
Lola, thank you. So we are waiting for the announcement coming up at midday. We will be bringing you special coverage here on the BBC. Do stay with us. A warm welcome to viewers on the BBC News channel. I'm Karen Giannoni here in the newsroom in London because this is special coverage of the BAFTA film nominations, which are going to be announced just in the next few minutes. The 79th BAFTA Film Awards will be live to BAFTA headquarters at 12 o'clock. It's in central London, and we're going to have White Lotus star Amy Lee Wood and Alien Romulus actor David Johnson announcing the nominations. With me here is culture reporter Lola Schroer. Down at BAFTA HQ is our culture correspondent, entertainment correspondent Lizzo Mazimba, and on this side of the Atlantic for once, but just across the newsroom is Talking Movies presenter Tom Brooke, who I will go to now. Tom, how are you viewing the offerings this year for the BAFTAs?
Well, given that the BAFTAs is a British celebratory event, I'm really interested in British film and how it's going to fare in the BAFTA Awards. And I think, to my mind, some of the best cinema this year came from small British films. Pillion, which was, you know, an eroticized relationship between two men. My Father's Shadow, a beautiful story set in Nigeria, and Urchin. And interestingly, I think these films will get some kind of recognition. And I'm not an in-house BBC corporate PR plant, but it's really good news, I hope, for BBC Film, because they, with the BFI, the British Film Institute, played an instrumental role in nurturing these films. So that means something to me, and I think people who have an interest in British film.
And as I say, you are normally across the Atlantic. How are the BAFTAs and the awards, the film awards, viewed amongst all the other award ceremonies that we have from stateside?
Well, I think the people who will be looking at the BAFTA nominations stateside today, movie publicists who are conducting Oscar campaigns, and they'll see what material they can get out of the BAFTA nominations to actually promote their vehicles. Case in point, Hamnet. Support for Hamnet among American Academy members isn't as strong as it is here. So if Hamnet does well, they will bring out advertising or whatever saying, look, BAFTA has endorsed this wondrous British film, you should vote for it too. So I think in marketing terms, it does have actually quite a big impact.
Tom, thank you for the moment. Lizzo Mazimba down at BAFTA HQ. How's this going to work, Lizzo? What do we expect?
Well, in a few minutes' time, we'll get those nominations read out category by category, culminating in what they like to see as the big two of outstanding British film and British film. But interesting what Tom was saying there, because he's absolutely right about the influence of the BAFTAs on Oscar voters. What it also does is that Oscar voters cannot see every single film. That would be close to an impossibility. These people are working professionals, and there are hundreds of films entered. If a film does well at something like the BAFTAs, it can say, oh, well, actually, I will pick that film out to watch that I wasn't going to watch before. And that can be incredibly important. It's all about moving those films into people's consciousness. So they say of the proportion of films, which probably isn't even close to 70–80% of the entries that we're going to watch, these ones that have done well at the BAFTAs, I will make a point of watching that. And of course, if they do watch those, they're more likely to vote for them, because the Oscars have brought in a system, a bit of an honour system, but where they say that they want to make sure that for the nominations, every single voter has seen the films that they're voting for.
Liso, thank you very much. We know that the announcements are imminent. Lola Schroer is with me. Who are we watching out for, Lola?
So many of the films here at the BAFTA nominations are going to be very similar to what we saw at the Oscar nominations, but leading the pack, it is probably going to be one battle after another, Sinners and Hamnet.
And so many people will be watching, both in the UK and stateside, for what this will also bring for the forthcoming Oscars, which is going to happen after the BAFTAs. This time it was up the other way around last year.
It was the other way around, and as Tom Brooke just said, you know, it will be the publicists in America looking at what's doing well out of those, especially probably the British films like Hamnet or I Swear, and kind of, well, not I Swear for the Oscars, but in general thinking about what they can promote and how they can present these British films like Hamnet to American audiences and to the American Oscar voters.
So, Lola, we are just watching what's going on very closely at BAFTA HQ, because we are expecting, just in the next few seconds, we hope, the announcements to begin. It's the 79th BAFTA Film Awards. That will be happening on the 22nd of February, so just under a month to go. And the announcement's going to be made by White Lotus star Amy Lou Wood and Alien Romulus actor David Johnson. They're going to be revealing the lucky contenders for this year's award. While we wait for this, Lola, let's just carry on talking about just how strong the field is this year.
Well, a film we haven't even touched on yet, Marty Supreme, Timothée Chalamet, of course. Now, that did really well at the Oscar nominations. And when you look at the long list, it looks like it's going to do well here at the BAFTA nominations. And what a marketing campaign from Timothée. I think he even spent some of his own money on it. Timothée Chalamet, sorry. What a marketing campaign from him. We saw him even be interviewed by our correspondent, our entertainment correspondent, Colin Patterson, where he mentioned Susan Boyle. So, you know, he really has campaigned it really well in America, but also here in the UK. So perhaps BAFTA voters have reacted to that campaign, and we'll see that in the nominations.
Talking about Hamnet, I mean, that really, you mentioned earlier just how moving it was, and people have really, really taken to that film about Shakespeare's younger days and the loss of a child.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about some of the younger actors actually in Hamnet. Then they gave absolutely stellar performances. Two brothers, Jacoby Jupe and Noah Jupe. They were incredible in that film as well.
Lola, we are going to leave this now and go straight to BAFTA for the announcements. Let's listen in.
And I'm David Johnson. And we are both thrilled to be here today to announce the nominations for the EE BAFTA Film Awards 2026.
As the British Academy for Film, Games and Television, BAFTA recognises and celebrates the skill and creativity that goes into telling stories that connect with people all around the world.
The Film Award nominees and winners are decided by BAFTA film voting members, a group of more than 8,000 professionals working in the UK and international film industry.
This year, 221 films were submitted for consideration, and 82 films made the BAFTA longlist. Today, we have the privilege of announcing which films and performers will progress to the final round of voting. These are the very best films of 2025.
BAFTA is also an arts charity with a mission to open up access to the screen art so that more talented people have the opportunity to share their stories with the world. BAFTA does this by connecting and supporting people at different stages of their careers. None of this will be possible without the generosity of BAFTA's partners and donors whose support genuinely changes lives.
EE has supported the BAFTA Film Awards for an incredible 29 years and continues to champion new talent with the EE Rising Star Award, which is the only award decided by the public.
It was an honour to receive the EE Rising Star Award last year, and Amy, you are a former nominee too.
It's true.
So listen, let's take a moment to congratulate this year's EE Rising Star nominees. They are Robert Aramayo, Miles Caton, Chase Infinity, Archie Midekwe, and Posey Sterling.
The winner of the EE Rising Star Award will be announced along with all other BAFTA Award winners at the EE BAFTA Film Awards on Sunday the 22nd of February. Now, we will announce the nominees from 14 of the categories. A BAFTA nomination highlights the remarkable artistic and technical achievements of the film industry, so congratulations to all of you in advance. Without further ado, here we go. The nominees for outstanding debut by a British writer, director, or producer are Jack King, Holly Bryan, Lucy Meir for The Ceremony, Akinola Davies Jr. and Wale Davies for My Father's Shadow, Harry Lighton for Pillion, Myrid Carton for A Want in Her, and Cal McMahon, Hunter Andrews and Owen Doran for Waste Mouth. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. The nominees for adapted screenplay are The Ballad of Wallace Island, screenplay by Tom Baston and Tim Key. Begonia, a screenplay by Will Tracy. Hamnet, screenplay by Chloe Zhao, Maggie O'Farrell. One Battle After Another, written by Paul Thomas Anderson. And Pillion, written by Harry Lighton.
The nominees for original screenplay are I Swear, written by Kirk Jones. Marty Supreme, written by Ronald Bronstein and Josh Safdie. The Secret Agent, written by Kleber Mendonça Filho. Sentimental Value, written by Eskil Vogt and Joachim Trier. And Sinners, written by Ryan Coogler.
The nominees for children's and family film are Arco, Boong, Lilo and Stitch, and Zootropolis 2.
And the nominees for film not in the English language are It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sirat, and The Voice of Hind Rajab.
The nominees for costume design are Frankenstein, Hamnet, Mighty Supreme, Sinners, and Wicked for Good.
The nominees for special visual effects are Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Frankenstein, How to Train Your Dragon, The Lost Bus.
The nominees for supporting actress are Odessa Zion, Mighty Supreme, Inga Ebsdottir Lilaas, Sentimental Value, Umi Musaka, Sinners, Kerry Mulligan, The Ballad of Wallace Island, Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another, and Emily Watson, Hamnet.
The nominees for supporting actor are Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Paul Mescal, Hamnet, Peter Mullen, I Swear, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård, Sentimental Value.
The nominees for leading actress are Jessie Buckley, Hamnet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson, Song Sung Blue, Chase Infinity, One Battle After Another, Renata Reinsver, Sentimental Value, Emma Stone, Begonia.
And the nominees for leading actor are Robert Aramayo, I Swear, Timothy Chalamet, Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another. Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon. Michael B. Jordan, Sinners. And Jesse Plemons, Begonia.
The nominees for director are Yorgos Lanthimos, Begonia. Chloe Zhao, Hamnet. Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme. Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. Joachim Trier, Sentimental Value. And Ryan Coogler, Sinners.
The nominees for Outstanding British Film are 28 Years Later, The Ballad of Wallace Island, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, Die My Love, H is for Hawk, Hamnet, I Swear, Mr. Burton, Pillion, Steve.
The nominees for Best Film are Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners.
Today's full list of nominations for all 25 categories are now live on BAFTA's website, including animated film, casting, cinematography, documentary, editing, makeup and hair, original score, production design, sound, British short animation, and British short film.
Huge congratulations to all the nominees. To find out the winners, make sure you watch the BAFTA Film Awards hosted by Alan Cumming on Sunday the 22nd of February. The ceremony will be broadcast on BBC One and iPlayer in the UK.
To find out how to watch where you are, head to BAFTA's website. Don't forget you can watch all the excitement from the red carpet on BAFTA's social channels ahead of the ceremony too.
Thank you for joining us for this very special announcement. We encourage everyone to go and see these incredible films.
And you can get involved in the conversation using the hashtag #EEBAFTAs. We look forward to seeing you at the awards. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, there we are. Amy Lou Wood from The White Lotus and David Johnson from Alien Romulus, both giving us the latest on the nominations, the announcement for this year, BAFTA's 79th BAFTA Film Awards, and some really substantial numbers of nominations for certain films. But let's just tell you, One Battle After Another, 14 nominations, Sinners, 13 nominations, and Marty Supreme, 11 nominations. Let's talk to Talking Movies. Tom Brooke, who is in the newsroom for us. Tom, good to see you this side of the Atlantic. And what are you making of what we've just heard?
Well, the nominations in terms of the big films, Sinners, One Battle After Another, and Hamnet, went the way I thought they would go, actually, and it pretty much reflects what the Oscar voters were expressing last week with their nominations. But I think there's a bit of an interesting story here that it's easy to miss, and that is Sentimental Value. I mean, that film got 9 Oscar nominations last week, and it got 8, today. And I think I think we've got to pay attention to the ascendancy of European cinema.
Tom, just stay with us. We'll take you through some of the things that we heard for Best Film, the nominees: Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. And then the leading actress category: Jessie Buckley, Rosie Byrne, Kate Hudson, Chase Infinity. And we're just going to say goodbye to viewers who are leaving us on BBC Two. Thanks very much for being with us. You are watching BBC News. Tom Brooke is still with us. Tom, you just talked about the ascendancy of European cinema, and I mean, just how is it being viewed? You're in the United States most of the time. Is its reputation going ever upwards?
Well, I think what's interesting is that both with BAFTA and the Academy Awards voters, they have recognised European cinema like never before with films like Sentimental Value. It's a small Norwegian film, a family drama. It has great people in it. Stellan Skarsgård, who got an Oscar nomination, Elle Fanning, an American actress. And then there are films like Sirat, which is a French-Spanish co-production, a very trippy film. I can't think of a better word, but you feel like you're inebriated when you're watching it, but it does deal with some very important issues. And also, people are embracing what they call international cinema. The Station Agent, really The Secret Agent, rather, a Brazilian film, got 4 BAFTA. 4 Oscar nominations, and it was recognized by BAFTA today. It's a politically charged film. So it's interesting what's happening. So although Hamnet is a very fine British film, beautiful work, beautiful acting, and although One Battle After Another looks really set now to kind of pick up all the key awards at the Oscars and probably at the BAFTAs, there's something really interesting happening in world cinema, that these awards contests like BAFTA and the Oscars are recognizing. I think we have to pay attention to it, and it's a bit like what's happening in the political realm. Last week we witnessed a bit of pushback from European leaders, and I think with European cinema, we're seeing something emerging in that respect too, being more self-confident, less reliant perhaps on the US. So it's quite exciting, I think, in that respect.
Tom, thank you. Let's go to Lizo Mzimba, who is there at BAFTA HQ. Lizo, just talk us through the headlines of what we just heard.
Well, as you say, leading the way with 14 nominations, One Battle After Another. 13 nominations for Sinners, the supernatural period vampire picture, and that's switching things around very slightly the other way from what happened with the Oscar nominations last week. And then coming in behind that with 11 nominations, you've got Hamnet, the story telling the theory of the way that a tragedy in Shakespeare's family inspired his play Hamlet, and of course Marty Supreme, the table tennis Timothy Chalamet picture. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how these films translate into wins on the night. It's not always the film that has the most nominations that does well on BAFTA night, and then looking over to the Oscars, it's not always the films that have done well at the BAFTAs that do well at the Oscars. My particular feeling is that even though Sinners is leading the way with those record 16 nominations at the Oscars, I think One Battle After Another is still slightly the film to beat. I mean, it's definitely, I think, between those two, but what the Oscars tend to do is they tend to honour for Best Picture films that aren't divisive. And I think that Sinners is probably slightly more divisive than One Battle After Another, and that's because of the preferential voting system they have, where they have first and second and third, etc. preferences, whereas with the BAFTAs, it's a first past the post system. Now, there are some things that, you know, are as locked in as you can be. I think Jessie Buckley is probably the favourite on both sides of the Atlantic to take Best Actress. Best Actor is a little more open, possibly, but Timothy Chalamet probably has the edge on both sides of the Atlantic there. One slight surprise, I think Amy Madigan in a film called Weapons about weird goings-on with children running away. She is perhaps, you know, one of the favourites to take Best Supporting Actress for the Oscars, hasn't made it onto the BAFTA shortlist, the nominations list for Best Supporting Actress here, so that probably has wounded her Oscar chances to an extent. And one of the final things I'd like to talk about, it's not just about performances in the film. What all these ceremonies from the Golden Globes right the way going through to the Oscars do, they offer a showcase for winners to give a speech on stage, and often those speeches can be as important as the performances. Somebody giving a really stirring, powerful, but emotional and thanking the film industry kind of speech that really breaks through in ways that others don't can really make a difference when it comes to voting for these big ceremonies like the BAFTAs and then finally the Oscars. So people who do win, if they go on and make a speech that stands out in a particular way or says something particularly different or original that really speaks to the voters, that can be an important factor in whether they get to pick up that golden statuette at the Academy Awards.
Lizo, thank you very much. You can hear the buzz there down at BAFTA HQ. Lola Shoa is here with me. Lola, what did you make of the acting category nominations?
So They're really interesting because at the BAFTAs, for each acting category, there are 6 nominations given out, which is different from the Oscars. And we're actually seeing some people on these lists that weren't nominated for Oscars. So Chase Infinity, now she missed out on a Best Actress, Leading Actress nomination at the Oscars for One Battle After Another. Yeah. Here she is on this list. So that's a fantastic achievement for such a young actress as well. Leading actor, you've got Robert Aramayo for I Swear, that British film, which has actually done incredibly well. It's got 5 nominations. So not only is he now nominated for BAFTA Rising Star, but he's also been nominated for Leading Actor Award. So, you know, the double whammy. You've got Jesse Plemons for Begonia. Now that was snubbed in the Oscar nominations. Odessa Zion, Marty Supreme, she also didn't get a nomination at the Oscars, but she has been recognised here by BAFTA for the supporting actress. Emily Watson, it's great to see her get a Hamnet, get recognition for Hamnet. 2 more that I want to mention, if that's okay. Paul Mescal, also snubbed at the Oscars. We can see him here on the supporting actor list for Hamnet for his performance as Shakespeare. And Peter Mullen in I Swear. Now, he plays the caretaker and the kind of mentor figure to Robert Aramayo's character in I Swear. So it's wonderful to see him being recognised for his great performance here at BAFTA.
Lola, thank you. Let's talk now to Posey Sterling. You may have heard her name. She has been nominated for a Rising Star Award for her performance in the film Lollipop. Posey, congratulations on your nomination for the BAFTA Rising Star Award. It's really good to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Give us your reaction, first of all.
My reaction to... Hello? Hi.
Yeah, just tell us what was it like to get that news?
Oh my goodness, what was it like to get that news? I mean, it was pretty wild. I was actually on top of a mountain when I found out. So that sounds quite biblical, I know. My agent called me and we had a little cry. And then a very quiet walk down the mountain with my friends because I wasn't allowed to tell anyone. So I'm very, very happy that the news is out.
You can go public at last, Posey. Just for the benefit of our audience who may not have seen Lollipop, just tell us a little about the film.
So I play a young mum called Molly, and she has just been released from prison. She's done a very short sentence, and she is trying to regain custody of her children, but she can't get her children back until she finds somewhere to live. But she's only entitled to a 1-bedroom flat, and on release has been made homeless. But she reunites with her childhood friend Amina, and they decide to take destiny into their own hands. So.
Posey, it's Lola here. Now, you told Deadline recently that you're drawn to socially impactful stories, and obviously you've taken your performance in Lollipop all the way to Parliament. Can you touch on that a bit for us and why it's so important for you to make films with these kinds of topics?
100%. I mean, for me, I felt a complete duty and responsibility to tell this story as honestly as I possibly could from the beginning. And I have met so many women who are real Mollies in this story and have continued to meet them during the press release of the film. It was, I'm going to say, quite divine timing that the day before the BAFTA announcement, we were at Parliament with the charity Birth Companions and MP Jess Osato, and we were on a panel discussing the policies and legislations in which the character Molly finds herself in, and many, many women in this country do. Over 5,000 women have signed over custody of their children just in the last 2 years, and most of them without even realising that that's what has happened.
Now, Posey, obviously this film is a very serious subject matter, but there are moments of light in this film, often to do with music in your character's relationship with your friend, but also the children. Tell me about how, playing gigs, talking the hardest and dancing to that kind of gave you some relief whilst making this film.
Well, actually, it felt like from the beginning. I remember the chemistry test, which is when we've done a few rounds of the auditions by this point, and this is the first time I met Idil Ahmed. And honestly, I fell in love with her, but we fell in love over knowing all of the lyrics to 21 Seconds by So Solid Crew. And so it just continued from then. So when we got to the gigs talking the hardest in the film, it's one of my highlights. And we would be like that offset as well, in the trailers whilst filming, always having such a, you need a lot of joy because that's life, and so there was that laced throughout the cast and the crew of the film in making this.
Posey, what's next for you? Where does your career take you?
Well, next month I'm involved in a 3-part drama on Channel 4, which is a factual drama investigating a decade-long investigation of the water companies in the UK. And I play a real woman, Julie, whose daughter, Heather, died, believed by E. coli exposure to untreated sewage.
Posey, we really appreciate you talking to us. Thank you very much, and congratulations once again for your nomination for Rising Star Award. Posey Sterling, who got that nomination for her part in the film Lollipop. Let's go back to talking movies, Tom Brooke. Tom, just another thought from you. What are your expectations, your hopes? What are you excited about for the rest of the awards season?
Well, I think I want to look at the awards season in perspective. I mean, the BAFTAs and the Oscars do recognise excellence in cinema, but they're also public relations and marketing endeavours. Public relations exercise to make the film industries in each country look good, and marketing to get people to go and see films. And what I think is, nothing wrong with that, but what I think is good is it can focus attention on films that can really help us lead better lives. I mean, I'm in the BBC newsroom. We're telling people every day stories, basically, of humans behaving badly around the world. All of these films that have been nominated today have something interesting to say. I mean, Hamnet is a great film, but it helps us understand loss and how out of loss can come perhaps wondrous things. Then there's a film like One Battle After Another, and really I just love the title. I mean, life does feel like one battle after another, both personally and in every other way, I think, for many, many people these days. But also, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of the cast members from One Battle After Another, and I say, is this a political film? And they get uncomfortable. They say, no, it's a topical film. But it is a very political film because the people who are vilified in this movie are these rather creepy white supremacists. And I think that touches a nerve, you know, given the body politic in America today. So these films really resonate. And I would say, just like I'm banging on about sentimental value, I think that's a great film with a very powerful message. It's about estrangement with a family and coming to a point where you don't totally resolve everything, but you recognize and respect others and having a difference of opinion. And that, I think, is a message we really need to actually worship in the world right now. And it's great to see these awards contests shining a light on these kinds of films.
There's a lot of movement, a lot of speculation going on in the movie industry. And Tom, I just wanted to ask you, how is the industry overall? What sort of shape is it in? How is it coping? How is it adapting to the advance of streaming?
Well, that's a really nice question that you ask, because we can get distracted by these awards. It makes it seem like everything is really good. But Hollywood is really, I think, at a pivotal moment. The streamers are dwarfing it. I mean, Netflix is poised to take over and swallow up possibly one of Hollywood's greatest studios, Warner Brothers. So there's a huge shift. Audiences, at least in the US, have not come back to pre-COVID levels. And then there's, this thing that's called AI that we go on and on about, hanging over everybody's shoulder. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know there is great energy and creativity in filmmaking today, in the independent sector, in the UK, in continental Europe, and they're telling us stories that we really need to hear. And that's why I like covering cinema, because 90% of what I see in movies is awful, but 10% are great, and they make me into a better person, I think, as a result, and I think for others too.
Tom, thank you very much. It is really great to have you with us here in London. Tom Brooke, presenter of Talking Movies. And let's just a final thought from Lola Schroer, our culture reporter. Lola, just looking at the numbers of nominations for these films, we've got One Battle After Another with 14 nominations. The Oscars, it was Sinners that ran away with the number of nominations, 16. It's slightly different BAFTA slant on this.
It is slightly different. So as you said, Sinners at the Oscars got 60 nominations, 13 here at the BAFTAs. Still obviously incredible and a lot of nominations, but One Battle After Another has beaten Sinners Sinners here. We'll have to see what happens on the night. Hamnet and Marty Supreme both got 11 nominations and 8 nominations for Frankenstein, which we haven't mentioned much. Obviously, Jacob Elordi and Oscar Isaacs in that film, and Sentimental Value. But I think that something which is really nice is that we're seeing British and Irish films kind of highlighted in, and Scottish films and Welsh films highlighted in the acting categories here. And we're also seeing a lot of first-time nominees. So in the Best Director category, 2 of the 6 directors of first-time nominees at the BAFTAs, Ryan Coogler for his original film. It's really important to remember that Sinners is an original film. And Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. So a lot of first-time nominees, a lot of nominees that are showing up as well that haven't been successful so far. Well, not so far, but haven't been successful at the Oscars or the Golden Globes. So I think it's showing BAFTA's differences.
Lola, thank you very much. Lola Schroer, our culture reporter. We've also been speaking to Tom Brooke, Talking Movies presenter, and Lizo Mazimba, our entertainment's correspondent down at BAFTA. I'm Karen Giannoni here in the newsroom here in London.